In fiction, leaders are often portrayed as stoic symbols of strength, calm under pressure, decisive in crisis, and unwavering in their mission. But real leadership isn't necessarily about invincibility, it's about the constant tension between the face a leader must show his people and the emotional weight that they carry alone.
ああ、反撃の手立てが何もなければな。
なぜクソみてえな面して黙ってる。
私の命を捧げればな。
Characters like Ned Stark, Erwin Smith, and even Korra demonstrate that great leaders are not great because they are unbreakable, but because they persevere, in spite of being hurt themselves. Their stories confront us with the real truth. You need a certain kind of vulnerability to be able to inspire. Otherwise, nobody can relate to you. Welcome back everyone to another TV archetype video. Thank you so much for the support on the last one. If you enjoyed this type of content, please consider subscribing and liking the video. If you have suggestions for other things I should cover, please leave me a comment as well. Alright, enjoy. To lead is to shoulder burdens that others do not necessarily see. The best leaders in fiction embody ideals that cost them personally quite a lot. Often they are forced to maintain composure in the face of chaos, suppress their pain, just for the sake of those that follow them. They have to make sometimes impossible decisions that carry both moral and emotional weight for them.
I, Eddard, of the House Stark, Lord of Winterfell and Warden of the North, sentence you to die. The man who passes the sentence should swing the sword. The boy I beheaded. Did you know him?
Of course I did. Just a lad. But he was tough, Ned. A true ranger.
Ned Stark is the typical kind of leader whose leadership is rooted in principle, and not necessarily politics. He doesn't necessarily belong in the world of power games, and you can see how out of place he seems in the first season. But he chooses to lead anyway, out of duty to his friend and the king. So he has to deal with a sort of internal conflict, the need to act honorably, following his principles, but to act in a dishonorable system.
When the king returns from his hunt, I'll tell him the truth. You must be gone by then. You and your children. I will not have their blood on my hands.
And very quickly he realized that dishonorable system does not like honorable people.
I did warn you not to trust me.
His execution doesn't necessarily show that he failed as a leader. It just shows that being a leader can cost you your life. His death is really a consequence of him choosing his morality over the politics going on in King's Landing.
Your son has no claim to the throne.
Liar! You condemn yourself with your own mouth, Lord Stark.
As I would trade my honor for a few more years of woe.
His fragility was all about being too human, too moral, in a system that punishes both morality and humanity. Erwin Smith, by contrast, leads more from strategy rather than emotions. Throughout the story, we discover that behind his commanding tone and sometimes brilliant tactics resides a man that's tormented by doubt. He's able to convince a lot of people to sacrifice themselves, but he then bears the weight of those sacrifices by himself.
俺たちは今から死ぬんですか?
そうだ。
He knows he's sending people to die and he does it all the time, but after so long, it's hard to say if he still feels anything for those people, as he's so focused on his own goal, or at least until the end.
あの若者たちに死んでくれと。一流の詐欺師のように体のいい方便を並べなくてはならない。そして私は真っ先に死ぬ。地下室に何があるのか知ることもなくな。俺が今までやってこれたのも、いつかこんな日が来ると思ってたからだ。
Because it's in his final moments that we really see Erwin Smith. We see the weight of all his choices crash down. He confesses that his motivation was never truly selfless. He just wanted to know the truth. Leaders can have their own motivation, and sometimes it aligns somewhat with the motivation of their people. At least that was the case for Erwin, who inspired as much as he manipulated.
全くもって無意味だ。どんなに夢や希望を持っていても、そもそも生まれてきたことに意味はなかったのか。 死んだ仲間もそうなのか。いや違う。あの兵士たちに意味を与えるのは我々だ。あの勇敢な死者を、哀れな死者を思うことができるのは聖者である我々だ。我々はここで死に、次の聖者に意味を託す。
Korra's journey is perhaps the most literal portrayal of leadership's physical and emotional toll.
I don't exactly have a plan yet. See, I'm still in training.
The expectations on her are infinite. She's expected to be the symbol of balance, of strength, of peace. But every time she loses, every time she battles, the pressure just compounds. Her collapse is as much the result of physical injury than it is emotional exhaustion. She's meant to be the protector, but feels that she can no longer protect anyone, not even herself. After her encounter with Zahir, Korra is changed. She's traumatized. She suffers from PTSD. She's been psychologically dismantled, so close to dying, and maybe even ending the Avatar cycle. To be remembered as the last Avatar was not quite on her list. She isolates herself because she doesn't want people to see her as less than perfect, as less than the Avatar they want her to be.
Leave me alone!
I think a lot of people underestimate the writing of The Legend of Korra, but the Korra character develops in a very significant way throughout the season.
Look, all I know is Avatar Aang meant for this city to be the center of peace and balance in the world. And I believe we can make his dream a reality.
Let go. Let go. Let go.
She's just as interesting as Aang. Each of these leaders suffer because they care. They care deeply about the people they want to protect, or at least about the goals of the people that they want to protect. They suppress their real emotions to appear strong, yet they manage to reach the emotions of everyone who follows them. Leadership is often so glamorized as clarity, confidence, control, but the best leaders are those who have suffered, and who know. Ned Stark, Erwin, and even Korra are not unshakable. Quite the opposite, but they manage to lead, despite being shaken. It's what makes them human, and what makes people able to follow them.
兵士を怒れ兵士を叫べ兵士を叩け
こいつを許してやってくれないか。こいつは悪魔になるしかなかった。それを望んだのは俺たちだ。
Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, please consider subscribing if you enjoyed the content. Also, if you've watched this, you've watched until the end, leave me a comment with your favorite foods just so we can confuse everybody else. Cheers, guys.